entertainment, 100% electricity, 100%
Pipebomb Radio with your host, Felix Olmedo.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man.
And Austin James.
That's the bottom line. From stone to stone.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Pipebomb Radio here this Tuesday evening. I'm Felix here, your host, along with Nate, Milton, and Austin James. Austin, you jealous because I introduced you last this time? Just kidding.
Absolutely. That's not even cool, especially when you're talking to somebody as phenomenal, as myself. I'm not saying Nate isn't, but I mean, if you've seen my hair,
No, Nate is not phenomenal. He's spectacular. How about that?
You know what? We'll go with that.
I'm all that in a tuna sandwich from Subway.
Oh, there you go. Don't get him started now, Nate.
The trend is getting on. I've been hoping for that.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we are back again tonight, and Legends Month continues. As announced As announced last week, we actually will have the Grappler, the legendary wrestler, the Grappler, Len Denton, joining us tonight to talk about his book, his career in professional wrestling, and an upcoming appearance he has with the IHWE in Old School Hustle. All that will be discussed here in just a little bit. He'll be calling in here. What was that, Austin?
And hopefully we can delve into a little conspiracy theory on who really came up with the DDT, because there's many stories going around that Jake Roberts supposedly put Lyndon in that choke and fell on his back, and eventually made the DDT. But there's kind of like a lot of misconceptions about it. Lynn says that he was the one that created it out of the accident, and Jake says that he's the one who created it. And I think we need to get down to the brass tacks. How about that? Brass tacks, is that the right phrasing for it?
Gentlemen, I just want to let you guys know, the one and only, the legendary Grappler, Len Denton, has joined us live.
How you doing?
Welcome to the show, Mr. Denton.
Hello, guys. How you doing?
Doing well, sir. Thank you so much for taking time to join us tonight.
Did I hear him talking about Jake Roberts?
Yes, you did, sir.
I thought I did, but you guys mention anything about, before I came on the air, about Jake being sick, or you guys know anything about that? I hadn't heard the last things happen with Jake.
He's actually gotten better. If I'm not mistaken, he's been taken out of ICU. He's actually recovering much more better now, and I believe he's just taking it easy. That's the last thing I've heard. I'm not sure if you guys have heard anything, Nate or Austin.
Yeah, that was the last I heard, that Jake had been released and he was on the way to recovering. But it's a long road, and we wish Jake the best.
Well, I do as well, because I've had a lot of tough matches with Jake. I remember starting in Mid-South way back after I left Amarillo. I was 18 years old, and I was in Mid-South for the first time. And Jake, I don't know what age he was, but he was a big, tall Texas skinny boy. I was kind of a short, skinny Texas boy, and we had a lot of matches back then. And then we both went out and made our bones, and went to Calgary, went all over the country, and came back to Mid-South and made a name for ourselves and wrestled some hard-ass matches. And I just I wish Jake the best.
I'm actually going to start off. I was just going to quickly ask a quick question in regards to that. Actually, it was an idea that Austin was just talking about as you were coming on the air, Mr. Denton, is that what is your opinion on it? Austin started the question. I guess I'll pose it to you now that we have you on. Who actually was the one that invented the DDT?
Actually, if you want the truth, I always say that it was me. Jake says it was him. And we even had a contest here in Portland. I ended up winning. But the truth of the matter is, it happened. We did it together. It was like a total mistake in the ring. Back then, we were going like 45 minutes every night, and it was in Lake Charles, Louisiana. It was real hot in the summer. It was like, 100 degrees. It felt like in that ring, and we're wrestling and sweating real bad, and we're working a front face lock, and I was calling spots out of it and going back to the front face lock, and he would crank it and work me back down to the mat, and I'd fight my way back up. he had the front face lock on me, and I called another spot where I set out and took off, hit the ropes, a couple of tackles. He did something to me and then hit me with a knee lift, and then he went for that hold. And when he went to grab the front face lock, we both slipped and we went down. Both of us went down together, basically like a DDT, and the crowd just it popped. And I told Jake, I said, "Did you hear that?" I said, "Let's try that again." Well, the next time we did it, Jake slapped me on the back real hard. It made an even louder noise, and the crowd really popped. And so we did that we were on the loop for about a week around doing matches, and so we used that as like a high spot during the match. And then finally, when we got back to TV to do TV in Shreveport, me and Jake talked. I said, "Bro," he said, "I'm going to make that into a finish." And that's before it even had a name. And so, so he named it the DDT, and he started using it for a finish hold because it was so devastating looking. No one was doing it. And so it worked out to be the DDT. And, of course, he claims that he invented it. I claim I do. It's great for TV, but we actually did it together.
That's awesome.
Finally, get this straight story. That's great. Because you hear so many different things about it.
And then, I hear Bill Watts owned the territory at the time, and he says me or Jake, either one invented it, but he don't say who does invent it. I'd like to know who invented it, Bill Watts, since we were working in your territory, and Jake Roberts has the DDT as a finish. You explain that to me. I don't know.
Well, going into your career, actually, kind of the beginning, what actually got you interested in professional wrestling as a fan?
Well, I've actually played football and baseball in high school, like everybody in Texas, young guys, and wasn't that much into pro wrestling. And then my dad got interested in it. He was, I guess, when he was younger. He used to park cars at the arena in Houston, and then my uncle come over one time and says, "Hey, you guys ought to come down and check this out." And I was about sophomore year of high school, I think, and we went down and checked it out, and I got all excited. And then my dad he worked construction, and he was building he ended up meeting Tiger Conway Sr., who owned a fence company in town. And they got to talking wrestling, and Tiger asked him could he help him build a carport for his fencing trucks to park them under. And so we got into that project, and I was helping my dad. It was in the summer. And then Tiger seen me, and he told my dad, "Hey, he might make a good wrestler. He's in shape and all that." Back then I was, actually. And so then that's how I initially got interested in it. And then Tiger wouldn't agree to train me. He didn't want to train me. And so that's when I met a fella named Joe Mercer that was in Houston, out toward Katy, actually. And he had a wrestling school, and I ended up going to that wrestling school, and that's how I ended up getting into pro wrestling.
Now, Lynn, you've had just a wild career, a long and storied career. You talk about your time with Jake Roberts. I'm actually interested in a fellow that you crossed paths with early on in your time, and it's somebody that a lot of the fans know today through his podcast or through shoot tapes and stuff like that. But what was your experience with a young man named Jim Cornette?
Jim Cornette was I met him when I went to work in Memphis, Tennessee. And Cornette was our manager. Actually, him and Jimmy Hart both were. Now, why they give you two managers and I do the talking too, I don't understand. Maybe they figured – I never did get that one, but maybe they figured we had more than we could say. But Cornette was the manager, and it was kind of like I do now sometimes here in Portland when I work for West Coast Wrestling Connection, and I have a thing called the Wrecking Crew, and I'll bring guys in and out. And so if a guy comes in, he's a tough heel, I'll usually adopt him into the Wrecking Crew. Well, Cornette was kind of the same way, him and Jimmy Hart. So every guy that come through that was tough heels, they would accept into their kind of like clan thing. And that's how I met Jim Cornette, as he was my manager in Memphis, Tennessee.
And speaking of acquaintances you've met over the years, I am just eager to just find out just what kind of crazy ride you've been on these last 38 years with Mr. Roddy Piper.
Hey, man, I met Roddy Piper way back in Charlotte, when I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, a young guy. I think I was about 19 years old. And at that time, I was just that's even before I started driving Flair when I was there. It was getting almost crazier with Ric Flair. But Roddy had a yellow Canary Lincoln, and he would drive that thing 100 miles an hour everywhere he went, and all the windows were knocked out of it. He just like a wild man. He was crazy back there. And so I've known him all the way since them days. And then as well as different other territories that I went to. And then I came to Portland, and I was working for Don Owens. And I'll tell you a little thing that happened with me and Piper. I was wrestling. First of all, I wrestled a match we had an agreement with me and Fujinami, a Japanese wrestler. And I dropped the North American, the Northwest Heavyweight title to him here in Portland. Well, I went over to Japan, and I won it back. And so we're just trying to get the rub from each other's promotion to make the promotions look better. And so and he was a heck of a worker, that fellow, Fujinami. So we had some great matches. And then when I was just before I went to do this in Japan, we sold out the Portland Sports Arena. And it wasn't me and Fujinami. It was me and a guy named Top Gun, the Cuban assassin, who works as now David Sahara. But we sold it out with a boot, my boot on the pole match, and so they hold 2,250 people, which is not a great big arena, but for Portland, they hadn't sold it out ever for like 7 years. So we sold it out, and I go into Don Owens' office, and Don Owens, he gives me the same payday that I normally get. And I go, Don, you need to kick me some more money here, old man. And he goes, you know what, you take that and stick it up, or just leave it with me, because you ain't getting any more. You already get a guarantee as a booker. I said, I know, but I sold the place out. I deserve more money. So we get in an argument back and forth, and he wouldn't kick me any more money. Now, back in those days, we didn't have cell phones and all that. We just had a regular house phone. But he paid my long-distance bill, Don did, because I had to hire a talent back and forth and talk to people around the country to do so. And so I said, okay, Don, that's fine. I'll get my money back. So when I went to Japan, like I was saying with Fujinami, I called my wife 3 times a day, collect. When I got back home, by the time it took about a month for him to get the bill, I was working again. I knew sooner or later I was going to hear it. He calls me up. Let me tell you something you know good. I can't even say it on your show. When he called me, he says, meet me downtown. Me and Barry Owens, his son, we want to talk to you right now. So I said, okay. So I go down there, and when I walk in the restaurant, there's Roddy Piper sitting there. I knew I was fired instantly. So I sat down and go, hey, Roddy, hey, Pipes, how you doing, buddy? And we were friends for a long time. He says, you know what, you're fired, good son of a, you know what? He said, I see this phone bill right here. Look at this phone bill. It's outrageous. I said, I told you I'd get my money back. You should have paid me when I asked you to. And so he goes, well, you're fired, and Roddy's the new booker, okay? So how do you like that? And then he was nice enough to go ahead and order you something to eat. I'll pay for that anyway, even though I fired you. So I go, okay. So we're sitting there talking and everything. So Roddy, at the time, was, doing the movie star thing, too. And he goes, Don, I got to ask you for a favor. He goes, I'm doing the Love Boat right now. And we're going to be on this boat shooting all this stuff. And he goes, yeah, that's great, Roddy. When you come here and they know you're a movie star, we're going to have people hanging off the rafters. He says, well, I need an assistant, so I want to hire the Grappler. So I got hired right back in the same position and with the same pay, the same day, by Piper. Don was so mad. He
gotta love Hot Rod.
Out of both ears. But me and Rod went on from there, and after we had a transmission shop together for 12 years, then we went, and I worked for him after that as like an assistant bodyguard type thing for 3 years. And actually, I just did a podcast with him a couple weeks ago. So he's doing good now.
I heard that one.
Yeah.
And
Piper's doing all right.
And along with your many travels across the world, you actually had many opportunities to head over to Japan. And one of your many battles there were against Hiro Matsuda, not only in a couple of singles matches, but also in some tag team matches as well. How was your experience wrestling the man that supposedly broke Hulk Hogan's leg while training him?
Well, Matsuda was he was the guy that had the snake pit in Florida, right? So you didn't want to mess with that fella, but I mean, he as a worker, he was a good hand. I had good matches with him. I do recall one time we had a match. It was me and Dick Murdoch and Bob Orton Jr. And one of the first times I ever went to Japan, it was Orton Jr., Dick Murdoch, and me against Inoki, Saito, and Hiro Masuda. And we go in the ring, and it's a 6-man tag. And so Orton Jr. and Murdoch step out on the apron and they look at me and go, I guess you're starting tonight, Grappler. I go, really? No kidding. And so they just jump out on the apron before the bell even rings. And so I've never been in Japan, so the guy that starts out Sunoki, right? Now, I don't know you're not supposed to take this guy off his feet, so I go behind him, try to take him down amateur style, and the fight was on. I mean, it's like a Pier 6 brawl. We started fighting, and when we get to the floor, finally Murdoch goes, "Take a watch, you little asshole. What are you doing? Trying to take a Noki down." So nobody told me I wasn't supposed to. So anyway, it finally got calmed back. Yeah, that got kind of rough for a little bit, but then we got everything back under control. So, but I never had much, not too many problems. I mean, the only thing about Japan is that I didn't like. I love them $100 bills they give you when you leave. You stick in your sock. You don't pay taxes on. But here's what I hate most of all. Every time you go there, they test you to see if you still think you're tough or not, you can handle it. And if you can't, they will beat the heck out of you every night. So you better be ready, and you better be in shape, and you better be doing your stretch and your jogging, and you get your cardio down before you head over there, and you better be ready to fight. Because that won't come that easy.
Well, Lynn, you talk about tough guys, and a guy that I'm sure our audience is familiar with. You had a chance to step in the ring with. You weren't there very long, but what impression did you have?
Goldberg, aren't you?
Bill Goldberg.
You know what? My own dad said that to me. Holy cow, can you wrestle along with that boy? I said, have you ever tried Goldberg before, Dad? But I'll tell you something. That was the thing was in that situation. I think it was in Kansas City, and pretty sure. And I had a dark match actually, and then I was talking to the guy, and what was that? I'm sorry, did you say something to me, buddy?
Go ahead, sir.
I think he was just clearing his throat.
I was saying I actually had a dark match scheduled that night, and then all of a sudden, just out of the blue, here comes I think it was Jimmy Hart comes over and goes, "Hey, they want to talk to you down the other dressing room." And I'm like, As soon as I walked into the dressing room, I seen Goldberg sitting in the chair, and I went, uh-oh. I knew something was up. And I go, because I had already been told I was fixing to get a contract with these guys. But then, when you go out on national TV and Goldberg pins you in 15 seconds or whatever it was, that contract goes out the window. But I tell you one thing, Goldberg was a gentleman and a scholar. He was a professional totally. I mean, he told me straight up, he goes, "Listen, I got this spear thing I'm coming with," and he goes, "Brother, I come with it hard, And I said, as long as, if you hit me nothing below the belt or in the face, lay it in hard as you want to. I wish I wouldn't have said that later, because I went halfway across the ring.
Steel wall.
You try to act all tough when you're in the dressing room, then you get in the ring and go, "Holy, did I really say that?" But he laid it in pretty good. But I mean, he was it was easy to work with and all that, but just like you said, didn't last very long, But I had no problem, I was mad because I didn't get the contract,
Understood. And I wanted to ask you, Mr. Denton, what ultimately led to you wanting to write your book? How did you come to the decision to go ahead and write that book?
Because through the years, I'd ride with different guys and different people, and they would say, "Golly, and I'd tell stories about different things that happened to me in wrestling and things I'd done, and they'd say, "Man, you got so many stories. You should write a book. You should write a book." So I heard this forever, and so they started making me believe it. So then I tried to call around, to some of the colleges around here to see if somebody would take that up as a project, And I couldn't get anybody to bite. And I tried, and finally I just kind of gave up. And then when we started, it was me and Piper and this fellow named Joe V that wrote the book. He's got his own show on Channel 12 here, a local show on a regular channel, network channel here. It just called On the Go with Joe. But he's we write TV together. We was doing Portland Wrestling Uncut at the time, me and him and Piper. And so I was sitting there at his house and we're going over some TV stuff. And I talked about that book, and he goes, I went to college, and I am a journalist. That's what I went to school for. He said, "I'd like to try it on." I wrote a book one time. And I said, "You want to try it, Joe?" Well, 8 months later, he's still working on it. He's like, "Why did I ever say I'd write you a book?" But that's how it all come to be, because I just went to his house, and I laid the stories out. But then the hard part comes where you got to research all this stuff and make sure it's fact, because some of the stories actually, like when I was, the first time I'm talking about the hair match thing in Memphis where I walked out, I was saying I was wrestling Lawler and I was wrestling Savage. Well, I just finished a program with Lawler and Savage, and we went into an angle with the Bruise Brothers, Troy Graham and Pork Chop Cash. That's who the match was supposed to be with. But I walked out. So Joe went back and he checked all this stuff out, so everything's authenticated in the book. So that takes a little time and effort, and that's kind of the hard part, you know. But we got.
I actually wanted to comment and let you know that it's actually on sale now on Amazon.com. I know because I've actually purchased the book. I am looking forward to taking it and looking.
The easiest place to get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
The easiest place is grapplerbook.com. That's where I send everybody.
Okay. There we go. And I'm looking forward to reading the great stories of your legendary career, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate you giving me a plug on it, man. I thank you for that.
And to follow up that, definitely with people who don't know, it's actually a #1 bestseller on Amazon.com. But like Lynn said, you can get it on grapplerbook.com. But how does it feel just to know that your book went to #1? I mean, bestseller on Amazon, it's not a thing that happens every single day.
No, I appreciate it very much. And, it makes me proud. It says to what Joe did for me. And also, I was hoping, because most of the books, the guys go, well, I trained here and I did this and I went and worked for Vince and I was in the Madison Square Gardens. I try to put you in the driver's seat kind of with the territory days. So, so you can get a feel for that instead of, all of us guys didn't go work for Vince at Madison Square Gardens. It's like you had to work your way up to get to those spots. So I try to give them a kind of a feel of that. A lot of the wrestlers read the book and have called me or texted me and said, hey, I started reading your book. I couldn't put it down. Man, it's a privilege and an honor working with you. And that makes you really feel good. When you hear guys, your own peers say stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And Jim Ross gave me a heck of a plug as well.
Oh, he definitely. Dave Meltzer, a lot of guys from the websites, Pro Wrestling Torch, Slam Wrestling, definitely must read. And yeah, definitely. I'm sorry. Yeah. Are you also on the social media currently now as well?
Just far as what do you talk about? Facebook,
Twitter, Instagram. There's so many of them.
Facebook, Twitter, the Instagram, not so much. But one thing I wanted to ask you guys about, we're talking about this old school hustle thing, right?
Absolutely, go for it.
Okay, I know that Stan Hansen, Larry Stan Hansen, is going to be there, and believe me, I'm real familiar with him. I still got scars from him. Okay, and that Black Bart guy.
Attached?
Huh?
Is your head still attached? It's still on there?
Ooh, but, when you see Stan coming, and Stan wears those thick glasses, and he's not wearing them in the ring, and he's looking at you kind of cross-eyed, and he's running as hard as he can, you get a little bit nervous, okay? Believe me, he lays it in there, my friend. And then Black Bart is not no slouch himself, okay, with that branding iron. And then and Cornette knows what he's doing. But I don't know not many of the other guys that's on the card, but I've heard there's a lot of gunslingers out there that's going to be shooting for people. You guys familiar with all these guys? And I don't know that much. Who's the heavyweight champion over there?
The heavyweight champion is actually Matt Riviera, and the show is going to be September 28th, and it's going to be at the Sendera Center in Fort Worth, Texas.
Yeah, I can't wait to get there, man. I'm from Texas. I always used to tell everybody I'm from parts unknown, but I'm from the great state of Texas. And I'm just like I'm coming home, brother, to family reunion, and I got friends everywhere, and I can't wait to get to that show. I'm going to bring some books with me.
What can the fans expect from Lynn Denton?
Well,
you know what?
They can expect this right here. I want to come out and shake everybody's hand and sign autographs. Hopefully some people want to buy some of my books. I want to get introduced and say hi to everybody. And some of those gunslingers like I'm talking about, I hope they don't think I got too old, because I still got a little bit left in the tank there. So if they get to messing around, we'll find out what's going to happen.
There you go.
That's awesome. Lynn, I did want to ask you.
I still got that loaded boot,
Oh,
you better watch out.
Go ahead, buddy. I didn't mean to cut you off, man.
No problem. This is Legends Month here at Pipebomb Radio, and we've had the privilege to talk to a lot of the stars that we grew up watching. And I wanted to know what your thoughts were on how the business takes care of the people that paved the way. Like, do you feel that there needs to be unions or pensions or stuff like that so that we can take care of the guys that provided us with so much entertainment?
Well, brother, that is just really a real good thing you're saying, and I do, and I wish, like everybody, I wish there was a pension and there was things for guys like that, the guys that paved the way, like you said, and it's been around forever, because they deserve something for doing that. But I just don't think I don't really foresee it happening because the WWE's got it so dialed in where if you don't work for them, you don't make the big money. The independents are having such a struggle trying to get back on their feet. It's kind of a monopoly on the other side. So if you go and you try to start a union, they'll blackball you so fast, they'll make your head swim, I'm sure. But, no, I would love to see that happen. I tell you, though, I talked to, you guys know Brian Blair, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's the new president of the Cauliflower Alley Club. And those guys are trying to do things to help retired wrestlers and help guys in need that help pave the way in our business. And that Cauliflower Alley Club, he said just join and be a lifetime member. And he said you won't believe. I just talked to him last week, matter of fact, and they're trying to do some help like that, but I don't know if it's going to be like a union or nothing. But to answer your question, and quit mumbling and fumbling here, I don't think it's going to happen, but I sure wish it would.
What about the odds of maybe having, since you've mentioned being on Piper's podcast, maybe the Grappler, or, wrestling with the Grappler online, on the podcast, or even just coming on and just telling stories, bringing some of your old buddies on. And I mean, nowadays that's the thing to do. People are doing all kinds of podcasts. Yeah. Steve Austin, Roddy Piper, Jim Ross.
I've thought about that. I've thought about that myself. But I just got the book done, and I'm actually right now I'm doing TV. I'm writing TV for the West Coast Wrestling Connection. I just started working on 5 episodes today. We got to shoot next month, so I got a lot of stuff tying me up. But I wouldn't mind the podcast. I know that it gets to be, it gets to be busy on your schedule, and you got to make sure you get them in there. But that's a good idea, and I've thought of that myself. I just haven't sat down and dialed it in yet.
Okay.
And speaking of a gunslinger, I want to mention Blackjack Mulligan. I know you actually had the opportunity to to wrestle him a couple times in Canada, I believe. But have you guys actually had the opportunity to have, I wanted to see you guys have the opportunity to have like a rivalry, a strong rivalry between each other. I don't think that was the case though.
With Blackjack, big Blackjack Mulligan?
Yes, sir.
Well, I wrestled him a few times, but I never had a real, like you said, I never had like a big angle or rivalry going. Blackjack, we sent each other passing in different places, but I didn't really have a strong rivalry going with him. Matter of fact, I was scared of him. He's too big, if you want the truth. I tried to avoid the guy. Look at him.
He's a big man.
I'm lying to you right now. I tell you, I was scared as hell of that big guy.
Oh. I wanted to know a little bit about West Coast Wrestling Connection. You brought it up a couple times, Lynn, and it's really cool that you're still connected and involved with wrestling today. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, boss, what I do is, like I said, I help write the TVs, right? And me and Joe V, that fella from Channel 12, and I manage wrestlers on there and I have a little thing called the Wrecking Crew. But sometimes I'm on there a little bit too much because some of these young guys get in the business and they can't talk. I go, bro, 90% of our business is your character to draw people, to put people in them seats. Who trained you didn't teach you how to talk? But, I mean, that's like the number one thing you need to know, okay? And so you got to know that and how to have psychology, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to get people to buy tickets to come in there. And I got involved with the West Coast Wrestling Connection, and I also wrestle for in L.A. I wrestle for the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. I just done that this last Sunday. That's a national television show, comes on. And but I don't write for that. I just work on that when I manage on that one as well. But luckily, I've been able to not. I didn't ever hurt my knees too bad where I didn't have any wheels, so I can still manage and do stuff, and I can still muster out enough promos so people can understand it and help some of these guys get over, so I can keep a job doing what I like to do. Thank the Lord. I'm proud of that, because I've done this since I was 17 years old. I broke in 1977 for the Funks in Amarillo, and I've been doing it ever since. And I just I hope it's the last job I ever have to have. I hope they put me in the ground and say that was a great old wrestler, but he's still probably telling stories.
My final question to you, Mr. Denton, is that
yes, sir.
In your historic career that you've had, and you faced quite a number of, you have a who's who list of who you faced over the years. Was there ever anybody that you didn't get a chance that you wish you would have gotten the chance to get in the ring with?
Didn't get a chance to get in the ring with?
Absolutely.
I did. I actually, golly, Buddy Rogers. I got in the ring, but I didn't do anything. I stood there, and Flair put me in the figure four and made me give up. But Buddy Rogers was standing there, and he showed Flair how to do the figure four on another guy, and they got into a beef. But I was part of the angle, but I didn't never wrestle him, and him and Luthez as well. Both those guys I never really had a whole complete match with, But I'd love to have done that with both those guys.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Now I've actually heard, from guys like the icon Sting. In the past, they say longevity is a secret, and you've been around for a long while. What's your secret to staying, fresh and always come up with new things to do in your life?
Well, there's not, there's no secret to it. I tell guys this. Well, first of all, like I said, I didn't hurt my knees, thank God. It put me totally out where I'm crippled. And here's the thing. There's one thing about this, too. Guys, and this was a pretty good blow on my ego, okay? I was trying to wrestle about 5 or 6 years ago, and I would go in the ring and try to wrestle a match, and I could feel in my inside me. I knew when I get up off that tackle, I wasn't as fast as I used to. But I'm a veteran, so they look around that. That's what I'm telling myself in my own mind. I come home, and my wife who watched me on TV, and she said, "Will you do your family a favor and stay off the TV set and get out of the ring?" "You're embarrassing us." She goes, so she said, "Here's the thing. When they bill you as the Grapplers coming, okay, they come to see the guy that was 25 years old, who was the Northwest Heavyweight Champion, who was doing high spots, going off the top rope to the floor, and loading his boot and flying all over the place. Okay, you can't do that no more. Sorry, but you can't do that no more. So you need to either find a different way to get booked or billed to the people, or quit trying to be the Grappler, because that's embarrassing." I went, you know what? She's right. So that's where guys make a mistake. Like when I go now, I don't try to tell people I can go out and out wrestle these guys. They're better than me, they're younger than me, and they're in better shape. So my persona is a manager. So when they get out of their zone, a lot of them, like you watch the guys as they get toward 40, they start wearing a black T-shirt and they don't take their shirt off no more, right? There's a reason for that, because they have a Furcher's disease. Their chest done fell in their drawers, okay? So they have a big shirt on that says, "I'm the Grappler" on the front. It's black, so you can't see them over, that thing hanging over their belt. So you gotta get with it and think logically what the people want to see. And they don't want to see some fat old man out there wrestling that can't do what he used to do. And so I changed my whole persona around to fit and push the younger guys. They want to see them guys go at it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But I hope I handled what you guys wanted on the show today, and I appreciate very much having me on.
In fact, I just wanted to say, on behalf of the three of us here, Austin and Nate and myself, we thank you for coming on, but we also want to do one more quick plug and make sure that if you don't already have it, to go and get the Grappler's book, Grappler Memoirs of a Master Man. It's available also not only on Amazon, but also what's the name of your website, sir? One more time.
It's on grapplerbook.com.
Grapplerbooks.com. Also, you can catch the Grappler at Old School Hustle for IHWE at the Sendera Center I believe it's in Fort Worth.
That's September 28th, right? That big show. I want everybody out there, man. See all my friends. Yeah.
Yes, sir. We can't thank you enough for coming on tonight and giving us a little history about who the Grappler is. Somewhere down the line in the future, we got to have you back, sir. If you're okay with that, we'd love to do a part 2 with you somewhere down the line.
Buddy, you call me whenever you're ready. I'm glad to come on. I appreciate everything, fellas, all three of you. I appreciate you making me feel good and comfortable, and thanks for having me on your show, okay? Anytime.
It is our pleasure, sir. Have a good night.
All right, fellas, y'all have a good night, huh?
You too.
All right, now. Take care. Bye-bye. That was a lot of fun. I can't say that enough. That was a lot of fun.
He's over the top.
He knew he was cracking some jokes, and man, he had us all rolling.
Yeah, he definitely was hitting some hot spots with his stories.
Yeah, actually, and it's funny that he brought it up because I was gonna talk about that one because it's in his book, the one he talked about when Roddy went on to do the Love Boat, and he left Mr. Denton in charge, and I guess he was having an issue with Billy Jack Haynes, and Piper just said, fire the bastard, get rid of him, and he didn't. Anyways, but it's in the book. I'm looking forward to reading more about it, and I just happened to know that because that was a foreword from Piper. It's in the book, but very enjoyable show. I didn't think I'd have this much fun. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know what to expect because I wasn't very familiar with the Grappler, and that's my fault for not knowing who he is. And I was definitely entertained more than I probably ever thought I could be. I probably compared it to Austin's pride and joy of the interview he had with Blackjack Mulligan. Definitely an enjoyable interview.
Not the interview. Yeah, we have like 4 interviews with Blackjack Mulligan over a span of 2 years, and he never fails to entertain. Just like Mr. Denton here tonight. I cannot wait for him to come back on because I have a feeling that he's the type of person that he loves to talk and entertain people. That's what he does, and that's why he's still doing it today, being a manager for I believe it's West Coast Championship Wrestling. I'm not entirely sure. I believe that's what he was saying. And somewhere in Portland Wrestling as well. I know he's riding for one of the 2 shows, but I'm really also speaking tonight.
It was the West Coast Wrestling Connection.
That's what I meant.
There you go.
Actually, I did say that, Nate. I actually did say that. But
I must have misheard you.
Yeah, I know. Everybody mishears me. It's weird how I'm the only person who hears. Actually,
join the club, Nate. I don't hear anything either now.
Exactly. See, everybody joins the railroad. What is it? The train.
The railroad. Are you trying to put ties to a train and run us over or something?
That was the plan, but there's always a plan B, right? Like Seth Rollins says. But next week on Pipebomb Radio, Ivan Koloff, former WWE champion, is going to be on the show.
Yes, sir. And just on the brink of course, just about a week ago, I believe it was a little bit over a week ago, his Kickstarter ended, and they were able to succeed in making this documentary for Mr. Koloff, and we get to hear about it and hear his thoughts about that, and not to mention talk about where he's been, what he's been up to these last few months since we had him on earlier this year. And I got to say,
very cool.
Absolutely. And that's not all, folks. I'm not going to reveal who our final guest of the month will be, but mercy daddy, let me just say.
Well,
that's
thanks,
all I'm going to
Felix.
say.
That was quite the spoiler. I'm sure nobody's going to figure out who that man
No,
is.
you know what? And maybe they won't. I didn't say any names, and I'll leave it at that. There wasn't only one person that would talk like that.
Well, that is true in a couple cases. But
okay,
yeah,
there you go.
Ivan Koloff. We had him on, like you said, and I think in March of earlier this year.
No, it was February.
February, that's what I said. And last year in April, I believe, no, it was May probably, we had on the legendary Bruno Sammartino, the longest-reigning WWE champion of all time. We'll be speaking to the man who defeated the longest-reigning champion of all time, Bruno Sammartino, Ivan Koloff, the 3rd WWE champion to ever hold the title. Next weekend, and let me tell you, we've had him on before, and he's quite the storyteller, and he knows so much, obviously, about his history and everything, and he's just, I have nothing but good to say about him. I love Ivan Koloff, such a sweet man.
Oh, sure, no doubt. And what's coming on tomorrow with the IHWE crew?
I can't remember. I should know this, right? I believe it's going to be Morgan Dollar. Yeah, I believe it's going to be Morgan Dollar, CAC member, and as well as who else? I can't remember. I can't remember. I know last week we actually had on Kyle O'Reilly and Tugboat Taylor's son, Chaz Taylor, was quite the interview. I loved it. Tugboat Taylor's son, Chaz, is so passionate about what he does and has been doing this for a long while. Kyle O'Reilly, I was so excited to speak to him because I know, Nate, you watch Ring of Honor and you know what Kyle O'Reilly can do in that ring. And it's I believe he's the best wrestler in the world today, currently. I love him. I love him he's such a great technical wrestler. But tomorrow night on IHWE, 8 p.m., you can check out IHWE's radio page on Facebook, and check out all the details on what's happening tomorrow night.
And I just want to give a heads up to also that's going to be coming to a conclusion here in about a day and a half. Would be, as we had him on here to start the kickoff Legends Month, the Ugandan giant Kamala. His Kickstarter also surpassed goal and will be coming to an end, so make sure you guys donate. If you have time, still do it. His book's going to be published. I'm proud to say I will be buying one. I did donate to that one, and I did donate to the Mr. Koloff's as well, so woohoo! Looking forward to looking at learning about some legends.
That's what it's all about. Like Mr. Denton was saying, like, these guys don't have a pension, don't have a union. The least we can do as fans is to purchase, whether it's a book or a documentary or some T-shirts or whatever. And it's not just helping them, it's helping us because, if you enjoyed the stories that you heard from the Grappler tonight, that's just like the tip of the iceberg of what's in his book.
That's an understatement as well, because knowledge is power, and when you read somebody that's read a book of somebody that's been in professional wrestling for as long as Lynn Denton has been in it, you can learn so much, and people realize that when they read and just listen to shows like this with guys like Blackjack Mulligan, Tito Santana, Kevin Von Erich, and so many more, they can learn so much in a short amount of time. But it's so much fun to listen to these guys because they've been through it all.
I think we actually may have a caller calling in.
Oh, my God.
Isn't it funny?
We don't usually let those people on.
You're funny. You are a funny little man. But you know what? It is from area code 707. I have a feeling I know who this might be. But I'm not going to make any guesses until we bring him on. So, caller from area code 707, you are live now with Austin, Nate, and Felix. What's your question?
Austin, are we feeling phenomenal tonight?
Absolutely. Jagger Lane. Jagger Lane's in line with us, and I believe he's touring in the United States right now with Comic-Con. Yes. Isn't this Jagger?
This is not Jagger.
You're kidding. I thought it was Jagger Lane.
Oh, my God.
No, this is Mike McCurdy,
really?
Man.
Oh, my God, dude.
Austin, you are so fired.
This is crazy. And I was actually, for some reason, I'm always expecting Jagger to call from time to time. I expected him since he was posting that on Facebook. But Michael McCurdy, well, he actually mentioned this last week about Ivan Cole's documentary. He's looking forward to hanging that USSR flag in his front yard, and I'm expecting to see the aftermath of it, what's left of it.
Well, I don't know if it's going to hang in my front yard, my friend, but yeah, I will be getting my USSR flag. So how is the show going tonight?
It was
phenomenal.
What is it, Austin? How was it?
It was phenomenal. Obviously, that's what you'd expect from Pipebomb Radio, but not only tomorrow night on IHWE Radio, who we're going to be having on?
Tomorrow night on IHWE Radio, we will be joined in our first hour by the Tokyo Monster Kahagas, and in our second hour, Vice President-elect of the CAC, Morgan Dollar, is going to be joining us to talk about the situation between David Fuller and Matt Riviera. So we're definitely going to have a phenomenal show tomorrow.
Only what you would expect on Wednesday nights.
I'm sorry I couldn't get on in time to talk with Grappler and all that, but I hope the interview went well. So
it went fantastic. It went spectacular, and in Austin's words, it went phenomenal.
Austin is always phenomenal.
Well,
according to him, yes, he is.
And I mean, that's always the case. But between Matt Riviera and David Fuller, there's a lot of stuff going on between those two guys. And I, for one, have had some history with Matt Riviera. And I mean, he said my hair looked really bad. I'm not even kidding. At a show, he said my hair sucked. I'm like, that made me feel really bad inside. I'm like, what? Matt Riviera, come on, man. And to push somebody like David Fuller, the owner of IWE, isn't the plan that you should go with if you want to further your career, especially in a place like IWE in Texas.
Well, this is why we're going to talk with Morgan tomorrow and kind of get his opinion on it, because we know Morgan has a little bit of an issue with Matt Riviera, so be interested to kind of get the two. And I'm sure David will call in as always. He tends to call in to keep up on us and make sure we're doing what we're supposed to. All right, guys, I just wanted to call in for a second real quick and all that, so I will let you continue on with the show, and I'm glad the Grappler interview went well.
Thank you again for your help, Michael, and we look forward. Make sure you guys check out IHW Radio with Michael, Austin, and the rest
Joe
of Gilligan's Island.
And Brian Westcott.
Sorry, I don't remember everybody's name, but Austin, you should. Anyways, thanks for calling in, Michael.
Quiz them on it. No problem, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye. Austin got put on the spot.
Well, for those that don't know Joe Sousa's name, it's actually really easy to spell, kind of catchy. It's actually Joe S-O-U-S-A. I love saying that. I tell him that every so often.
S-O-U-S-A.
S-O-U-S-A. And it sounds like a good morning show name. I don't know. Especially the orange people in California.
Funny. Yeah, well, you know what? Not all Californians are orange people, so chill.
Well, actually, speaking of orange people, this Sunday night is Night of Champions, and the color of the title is gold.
Yeah, that is correct. What is your point on this now?
I'm just telling you.
It got quiet all of a sudden.
I'm throwing it out there that the color is gold, and the Night of Champions is the Sunday night on pay-per-view, and we were going to give our predictions about who's going to come on top and reign supreme. Is it going to be Brock Lesnar, John Cena, Nikki Bella, Paige, or AJ? In this case, Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns, as well as Randy Orton versus Chris Jericho. I'm sure I'm missing. Oh, also the Usos battle the very odd duo of Stardust and Gold Dust.
And of course, Rusev versus Mark Henry.
Of course. Why can I forget that? I was the one that ended the night on Raw this past Monday night.
All right, well, let's do a roundtable, figure out who our predictions are going to be. How about we kick it off with the main event, Austin? Who's leaving tomorrow night? This Sunday night as the champion.
The person who's leaving as the champion this Sunday night is Brock Lesnar. This is the reason why I'm saying this. This is the reason I'm steadfast on this answer, because John Cena, the only way I see him beating a person like Brock Lesnar is if he turns into a beast. And to not quote Ric Flair, but kind of take something from him. In order to be the man, you have to beat the man. But in this case with Brock Lesnar, in order to beat the beast, you have to be a beast in every single sense of the word. And that's the only way I see John Cena beating Brock Lesnar this Sunday night on pay-per-view. WWE Network $9.99. Hashtag whatever. I was going to come up with something, but phenomenal.
Hashtag Michael Cole?
I was trying to...
Hashtag Michael Cole?
We can continue with the awkward phase here. I mean, just come up with anything.
Okay, JBL, what you got there?
First of all, Austin, I love you, brother, but I'm going to start calling you Mr. Fantastic from now on, because that orange to gold segue was a bit of a stretch.
Well, I mean, I didn't want it to. I wanted it to be something that nobody expected, because it didn't make any sense at all. I meant it to be like that. Because Bo Dallas told me.
Yes, you certainly did the unexpected, and I tip my cap to you. As far as Cena,
I'm the only one that does.
I'm gonna say that Brock retains the title, but I'm going to say that he doesn't beat Cena. How about that? I think we're going to get some type of either a count out or a DQ or something where the fight is just so fierce that the ref has to throw it out. Brock retains, and we get the third match at Hell in a Cell.
Well, Nate, remember this. There's always a plan B. You never know who's lurking in the shadows, and that person might just be Seth Rollins. He has a briefcase that he can cash in anytime, anywhere, for a year.
Nah. I really don't see Brock losing it. I see him holding it until WrestleMania. They're not going to really have too many people stepping up to him, and if anybody does, chances are it's going to be somebody he's already faced. Unless, knock on wood, there's some miracle that they bring back a blast from Brock's past. And I don't mean The Undertaker, Austin. Shut up. I would think in this case, and this is just a guesstimate. I'm not going to say it's going to happen tomorrow or Sunday, but I'm going to guesstimate sometime by the end of this year, we could see the return of Kurt Angle. I don't doubt it, but if I do, you know what? It's an interesting concept because between now and WrestleMania, who is he going to face? He's got to have some contenders, and right now there's nobody around. Right now I predict that Brock will leave with the title. Maybe Seth Rollins will cash in, but I don't expect it this Sunday.
In the shadows of the galaxy, where the aliens of listening to Pipebomb Radio are, there's a guardian of the galaxy, Batista, Drax. You're forgetting about him because you never know with WWE, expect the unexpected. Batista might be the only guy that has a legitimate backing in order to beat a person like Brock Lesnar.
I actually agree with Austin. I think I may agree with Austin. So I don't know what that says about me right now, but I agree with Austin. Batista would be a good fit, after Cena that could be Brock's next feud until we get to WrestleMania.
It's a good possibility. I'm not going to say it's not impossible. At this point, anything's possible because the way it's been sounding, it's almost sounding as though maybe Batista is ready to hang it up. So if he's going to go out, now would be the best way to do it. And then he can continue on with his acting career.
After making millions of dollars after a movie, I would probably hang up my boots as well. I mean, there's no, if it was in his place, I mean, I guess it kind of shows if it was how much he loves wrestling as a testimony if he would return or not, because he really doesn't have to ever in his life have to make any more money with. I'm sure he made a ton of it with this movie that he was recently in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Fair enough. Now, since you brought it up earlier, what about the Triple Threat Divas match? Do we see the crazy one AJ regain, or do we see the raven-haired Divas champion leave with it, or yet a third contender, Brie Bella, who seems to be Stephanie's new, what would you call her? I don't know, maybe a bodyguard, maybe a new
Chihuahua.
Well, that's a good one. Could we see Nikki Bella finally actually capture the gold herself for the first time ever? Only to add on to this ridiculous storyline of the Bella versus Bella, but God help us. What do you guys think?
I think it should be that, this Sunday night, the Triple Threat match, Paige, AJ Lee, and Nikki Bella, there's going to be something because I know that Brie Bella somewhere in that arena is going to be around the area. Make sure, surveying what Nikki's doing because she knows that Nikki doesn't really deserve to have that title, that title opportunity because, they're twins. They should deserve, at least an equal amount of things, obviously, right? They're twins and they're family members. But I don't know, honestly. This is a deal where I'm not exactly sure what will happen. I guess it's a good thing. But I know Stephanie McMahon will also be around the scene somewhere. I can't give you a straight answer. I'm probably seeing a disqualification.
I can't give you a straight answer, and my straight answer is, even though AJ and Paige are the best wrestlers in this match, the biggest story in terms of women over the past 2 or 3 months has been dealing with the Bellas and Stephanie McMahon. So I think we're going to see Nikki Bella win the title, which will lead to a Bella Twins feud over the title, which will somehow come back to Stephanie McMahon and Brie Bella for the title somewhere down the line.
No, I know what you're trying to think. I get in your mind, I'm inside of your mind, and I see that you're thinking of Brie versus Nikki Divas Championship, Hell in a Cell. That's what you're thinking.
It will be Hell in a Cell.
With Jerry Springer as the referee.
Oh, and
exactly,
JJ Bella,
right in the middle.
A JJ on a pole
that?
match.
Oh,
JJ Bella on a pole.
Oh, my God.
So many possibilities.
That was horrible.
That's one of them. Casket
All right,
matches,
well.
I can go on and on. Buried alive. One of the two has to go in. I mean, they can only be one successful twin.
Can we bury them both?
No, that wouldn't be sanitary. Especially if they were alive.
Oh, damn.
All right, Felix.
Well, if The Undertaker can do it, why couldn't these girls?
Because The Undertaker has that he he's the type of person that can do it because he's qualified.
Fair enough. All right, boys, what about the tag team titles? Do we see the Usos continue their reign, or do we see the new reign of Goldust and Stardust?
All I gotta say about this is that the Cosmic Key will unlock the door to the tag team titles this Sunday night on pay-per-view. WWE Network $9.99 Stardust and Goldust will pick up the championships around their waist and add a little bit more gold to their attire.
Absolutely.
I agree. I like the Usos, but I think that the babyface is always better when they're going after a title, and sometimes they get boring once they win the title. And so I think Goldust and Cody, or Goldust and Stardust, they're going to take the belts, and then we'll get the Usos chasing them for a while.
Well, you know what? They might as well get one last good run before they finally split them up. Because I see that's probably what's going to happen anyways, and that's just an opinion, because people have talked about a match between Dustin and Cody for a while. Who's to say? It might happen later down the line. But, yes, I have to say the brothers, the Dust Brothers, the Dust Busters, whatever you want to call them, they're going to leave with the titles. As far as that goes, we'll jump over to the Intercontinental title, because we did forget to mention that match, unless you did mention it and I just didn't hear it. Who's leaving, The Miz or Dolph Ziggler with the title?
I think Nate can agree with me on this. When you have a person like R. Ziggler by your side, you're going to win every single title imaginable. I mean, versus a person like Damien Mizdow, who's probably going to be in Miz's corner this Sunday night on pay-per-view. I see Dolph Ziggler retaining it. He deserves it. I think he's going to have a good run with this Intercontinental Championship.
All right.
I like the Miz's new character. I like him and Sandow. They work good together. I'm not quite sold on the pink and black attack with Ziggler and R-Truth. But I think Ziggler will retain. I don't know. I think eventually, though, we got to have a unification between the Intercontinental and the U.S. because I think both of those champions kind of get lost in the shuffle.
They do. Because that title's not even being defended. Or is it? I don't think they've mentioned that title at all lately. Is it?
Don't
tell me. Sheamus against Cesaro.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, yeah. See, we forgot about it.
Well, see, because they're you know what, and the sad part is, both guys should be contenders for the world title, and are not. Didn't Cesaro win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal? Shouldn't that have allowed him to have some kind of World Heavyweight title match? Yet he's lost in a mid-card shuffle with Sheamus, who to me has been boring for the last year and a half, because I'm ready for his character just to change. Because
what are you talking about, fella?
Oh, jeez.
No, you're
talking
about
Sheamus. That dude is just a jar of mayonnaise. All I can say, he looks like the overgrown beaker. You just need to put him on there, give him a world title run, maybe, and have him turn on somebody that he's tagging with, and have him turn heel. It's time. It is time for him. Because how far can he go?
I agree.
How far can he go, Austin? I mean, seriously.
Well, I mean, Sheamus is a legitimate. I love Sheamus. I've always have. I've been a huge fan of his over the past years. And as a bad guy, he can be really bad. I mean, he's an evil Celtic warrior monster.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I mean, at that point, is the U.S. title match really even relevant at this point? Is there? I mean, who do you think is going to be leaving with the title?
You know, to me, honestly, I see Sheamus retaining it. I'm a huge fan of Cesaro, but I mean, I see Sheamus retaining it after it's all said and done.
Okay. How about you, Nate?
Yeah, I think Sheamus will retain. I mean, Cesaro, remember how hot he was right around WrestleMania and how much he's cooled off since then? It's crazy. So I think Sheamus is going to retain. I would like to see a heel Sheamus, and even more, I'd like to see a heel faction with Sheamus and Paige, and they can defeat any opponent except for the rays of the sun.
That's great.
Yes.
That is so great. Well, they might. The only person that might not have a chance of beating is the people who are always around the sun, Stardust and Goldust or the Cosmic King. Maybe with those tag titles, I don't see him taking out anybody else anytime soon. But you also need to mention Chris Jericho versus Randy Orton for some reason, and I'm not dogging it at all. I believe it's actually Chris Jericho's last date with WWE for this current run he has with them in the company. But it was kind of thrown together pretty quickly as of last week.
I have a question for both of you after we give our predictions on this match, because something's been really bugging me, and I want to get your guys' opinion about it. But anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry, Austin. Please.
That was basically it. They have I believe it's kind of thrown together pretty quickly as of last week on the season premiere of Monday Night Raw, where they basically had a backstage attack, and that was kind of it. So I'm not sure what to expect from it. But a good match. I know. I mean, those two are going to have really good matches together. They always have in the past. So I know they're going to do the same this Sunday night. I'm not sure the whole entire reason why they're putting it in though. If you understand what I'm saying. My voice is kind of bad tonight. I'm sick. So disregard me for a second.
Well, here's the thing. As far as those two titles that we just previously talked about. Yes, I agree Ziggler will probably retain, but I do like the Miz's character. I do finally agree that Sandow is relevant again as a sidekick, but nonetheless relevant. Same thing with R-Truth, relevant currently, but as a sidekick, nonetheless he's out there again, and that's what he needs, to be out there again. And as far as Randy Orton and Jericho, honestly, I don't care. I have nothing against either one of those two, and I'll tell you why. Because when you throw a match together with nothing behind it, it really doesn't leave anything but, okay, who's going to win? Does it really matter? I mean, lately, both have been kind of dwindling around, not really doing much. And this is not trying to discredit either one, because both are tremendously talented. Their career speaks for itself. They'll eventually be future Hall of Famers, no doubt, Jericho and Randy Orton. But to this match, if I had to choose a winner, obviously I'm going with Randy. Because if Jericho's going out, obviously he's going to go out on his back. And that's no rib at him or anything, because he's been here putting over talent for the last 2 years. But this leads to my question real quick, going off the subject. Why, in the Blue Hell, has Bray Wyatt, and this is going towards him because if you think about it, he gets put in these storylines, goes for months, and does well with whoever he's with, gets yanked out of that storyline, and gets thrown together with somebody else just for the hell of it. You go from Cena to, was it Jericho, was there somebody after Cena? No, I don't think there was. And then after Jericho, apparently I hear it's supposed to be Ziggler. If there's not going to be any chance to build him when he gets pulled out of these stories, how are you going to take him as a relevant contender for anything? He's bounced around from different stories, different matches, different ideas for him, and he's gone nowhere. To me, his ship is sinking, and I hate to say that because I'm such a fan of his character. The Wyatts, in general, the whole Wyatt family, they had such hype for for their arrival last year. And now, where are they now? This is what I don't get. They should be They should be higher up on the totem pole, yet they're coming down towards the bottom.
Yeah, I agree with you with that statement, but I think the same thing's going on with Rusev. I don't know how long they're going to continue with this Russia versus the United States of America thing, but Bray Wyatt, both.
Until Cena gets in the picture.
And those two have great matches, obviously, in WrestleMania. That match was awesome, in my opinion, and an awesome rivalry for what it was. But I know.
What I mean is that they're building Rusev to have a match against Cena.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of similar to the Umaga thing.
Yeah.
The way Umaga had his match with Cena about 7 years ago, they're trying to build Rusev as this big beast, unstoppable beast that almost got stopped because of Lana's controversial comments. When I need people think to get their panties out of a wad and grow up. It's television, folks. It ain't real. It's just spouting off things to get you to hate them. Anyways, he's just trying to be built up, and right now I think that's their ultimate goal. Cena will be next on after Mark Henry.
Yeah, that's kind of a revelation of what might happen this Sunday night after he wrestles Brock Lesnar. But to go with Bray Wyatt, like I was saying, when I definitely see this happening, and we've seen that match at Royal Rumble against Daniel Bryan. I know for a fact that I've seen recent interviews. Bray Wyatt's waiting for Daniel Bryan. In the future, those two are gonna tangle again, and they're gonna put on a really, just awesome, more intense rivalry than last time, if possible. Because remember how short the rivalry was last year when they kind of had Daniel Bryan within a couple of weeks going from with the Wyatts and then with out of them and escalating to the match at Royal Rumble. But I definitely see them wrestling again in the future when Daniel Bryan comes back, and I know the Wyatt family is going to be waking in the darkness like they are all the time for their next opponent.
See, I think that this is a problem that not just goes with Bray Wyatt, but it goes with a lot of the guys in the mid card. Like even with guys that are established like Jericho, like this has been his last return. Like, what did it really accomplish? Like, Bray Wyatt is no more over now than he was when he started the feud with Jericho. In fact, he's gone down, like you were saying. I think they've lost track of where this character needs to go. They lost focus, and he lost to Big Show the other night in the tag match. So I think that there's a lot of guys that need refreshing, and they got to just figure things out. And I think a lot of stuff behind the scenes is why these guys haven't been elevated in terms of guys like the Wyatts, and maybe why guys like Roman Reigns, they're still waiting to pull the trigger on him, because in the age of the network and in the age of we need subscribers, there's a couple things that are guaranteed to bring viewers in, and that's John Cena, that's Brock Lesnar, that's the older stars, and that's why I think you're going to see them continue to be on top, at least for a little while.
Okay. And then we go to, which one was it? I think we've covered just about all except Rusev and Mark Henry.
We also forgot to mention one more. Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns, after that one.
Okay. So what's your opinion on the Rusev versus Mark Henry?
I honestly think Rusev is going to still go undefeated because, like you said, in order to have a match against John Cena, they're probably going to build him up as a guy who's not going to be defeated until he gets hand-on-hand with a person like John Cena. And maybe I might see this actually going into Tribute to the Truth. You never know. And I think it'd be kind of a main event type of match, a featured match at that show, if they take it to the limit and really, go all the way towards December, which I don't see happening. But, you never know. You never know with WWE, especially with Alexander Rusev versus John Cena.
Okay.
I agree. Rusev's got to win this, even though I'm a big fan of Mark Henry, have been for a while. But I think Rusev's going to win because Mark Henry's not the guy. Like, he's not the guy at this stage of his career to, get the victory over this guy that's been steamrolling guys for months. So it's got to be somebody like a Cena either somebody like a Cena or somebody out of NXT that you're super high on, that you're going to give that big win over Rusev?
I know what's going to happen. Vladimir Putin's going to come running down the ramp Sunday night. He's going to hit Mark Henry over the head with a steel chair, and the referees are going to see it. And then Alexander Rusev's going to get the pin and the win. That's my view on it. Rusev crushed all the way.
Oh, when do you come up with these great ideas, Austin?
Trust me, that's
they
only
just
one
come
of
to
the
him
1,000.
naturally.
Yes, it's magic.
He has all that magic in that big ass poof of hair he's got on his head.
Well, it isn't. It's not an afro or anything. It's more like it's something that you've probably never seen before. It's pure,
no, because I don't have any hair, so.
Then you wouldn't know, So don't preach.
I don't try to preach. I'm not even jealous, to be quite honest. I'm glad I have no hair, because having that poofiness in my head would just be more of a pain in the butt, really, because you have to spray it and you have to keep it up, and whatever you do to it, no, thank you. I'm glad I'm bald. I'm just going to stay bald.
Well, you always have an extra mirror when you're bald. Always have that.
You're a funny little man.
Nice and clean. No, I'm just saying, it's an obvious, answer to your.
I am telling you, I swear this is like Monday Night Raw, and this is Michael Cole, The King, and JBL. Let me tell you.
Well, I'm not.
Now, before unless I hear Austin start throwing out a shucky ducky quack quack, we're in trouble.
Oh, baby.
Good God. We got to get Booker T back on the show.
Oh, my God,
so much fun
Booker
with him. Yes. I think, you know what, it'd be awesome if we could kick it off with him to start off 2000. Listen to me talk like that. Anyways, 2015. Kick it off with Booker T. Interesting concept. What do you guys think?
I can
dig that, sucker.
Nate, what's up with you? Damn it. How was it the only person creative enough to come up with that reply? It was just so obvious. But one more
great
match.
Minds think alike.
Oh, I know. But it's one more match. Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. Really interested in this, considering the match they had last night on Monday Night Raw, which I thought was pretty good. And I think it's only going to be more intense this Sunday night on pay-per-view. Night of Champions, $9.99.
You think? Well, see, here's what I think. I think that we're going to see the return of Dean Ambrose this Sunday night, and it's going to lead to an eventual Hell in a Cell between these two.
No, it won't.
Maybe those three.
No, you know what it's going to lead to? It's going to lead to, and this is the most creative idea you ever hear in your entire life, it's going to lead to a Hell in a Cell match enclosed by like a plastic, not a plastic, something kind of like a ceramic maybe, like guarding across it, and eventually, when time goes on, it's going to be filled up with cement, and the first person to climb the cage and get out of it is going to be the winner. The other one's going to be, in cement.
Where the hell do you come up with this crap?
Well, no, the reason why is because, remember, last month on Raw, Seth Rollins put Dean Ambrose's head through some cement blocks. So I think, just to escalate it more, being WWE...
Do you remember what the son of Paul Bearer said they used when he was put in cement? When Paul Bearer was put in cement by The Undertaker?
Great American Bash.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Listen, if you guys don't recall, I'm going to say this to everybody, all of our listeners, go back and listen to that tribute show that we did in honor of Paul Bearer last summer. Fun show, great memories, great kid, legendary father, and you know what? He actually talked about what happened at the Great American Bash. If you're wondering, was Paul Bearer really buried in cement? Listen to that podcast. Listen to it, find out, and you'll know for sure. Because, as the legendary Kevin Von Erich, kayfabe was peeking around that corner there. No, I'm just kidding. No, I wasn't. But I think, all in all, we've got some pretty good ideas of who we want to continue to bring on over the next few months. We may have, knock on wood, maybe something special planned for Halloween, the month of Halloween, something special. Do we even have a show Halloween? Ooh, that would be funny.
Would be cool.
On the 31st.
No. You know what, though? We could plan something special for that week. I think we could. Why not come on with
one thing I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to December, because I know with Pipebomb Radio in December, the holiday season is a definite awesome time to be around Pipebomb Radio. Because remember last year, it was supposed to happen, but it didn't happen. I'm looking to make it happen this year again. Bushwhacker Luke coming on live and saying reading the night before Christmas. And we planned it out to happen that way last year, and I think it didn't go out as planned. And he didn't.
Scheduling conflicts.
I don't know. Yeah, due to a few conflicts, but I know he'd probably be up to it coming back on this year, the night before Christmas. So it's just something in my mind that would just be amazing if we get done. I mean, who would think Bushwhacker Luke coming on Pipebomb Radio to
He's
read
got
the
Blackjack
night before
Mulligan
Christmas.
on the mind.
Always, that's the number one thing.
Yeah, he's your hero, I know. But,
he's a gunslinger.
Hey, there you go. To quote our guest tonight, he's a gunslinger and a big one. You don't want to piss off the Blackjack himself. He will, you know what? He'll just take your head off like the Stan the Lariat Hansen would. I don't know if it's good as Stan Hansen would, but close to it.
Well, I remember I actually quote Blackjack Mulligan from a couple of months ago when we had him on. Blackjack Mulligan, guys, told me, he said, "I love you, Austin." So, technically, if I wanted to go this route, I could actually go on CustomInk.com or Vistaprint and make my own T-shirt that says Blackjack Mulligan loves me. And then I'll walk around with Walmart and be like, and I think it would be a legit thing that people will be like, "Oh, did that really happen?" Yes, and I'll have my hand recorder like the kids use these days and show them exactly what he said. And it'll be a reliable source of information that you can go back to anytime you need.
Well,
seriously, it happens.
That would be interesting to see. And you know what I want to see? What else I want to see? We need to have some Pipebomb Radio shirts, maybe beanies or something. I'd be wearing it. Shoot.
Yeah, because you're bald. You have to wear it just to have a little more festivity.
You're a funny little man. I wasn't talking about the beanies, although I would wear them. I was talking about the shirts. Shoot, why not?
Oh, shirts, okay. Do people in California wear shirts? I know they're on the beach most of the time. You never know.
This from the guy who lives closer to the water than I do.
Trust me, I know.
I'm sure you do. But I'm going to go ahead and call it a night, guys. Any final thoughts? Any final plugs? Actually, yes, there is one other plug. It is now official. Austin knows about this.
Thank God.
Shut up. It's true, though. You're right. Our new website is official. It is pipebombradio.net. We wave goodbye. Sayonara. Hasta luego. Don't let the Lord hit you where the good Lord split you. The door hit you. There you go. Not the Lord. Hello. I didn't even say that right. Let me try that again. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. We are no longer Weebly.com. We are PipebombRadio.net.
Yeah, we kicked Weebly to the curb. Just like Seth Rollins did to Roman Reigns. Maybe.
I don't know about that.
You never know. There's always a plan B. Right, Nate?
Plan B, option C, you never know.
That's what's best for business. I know Triple H is behind this, and he's always behind with best for business. Same with Stephanie McMahon. That's why we might just see Nikki Bella as a new Divas champion this Sunday night on pay-per-view. WWE Network $9.99.
Alrighty then. Since we've already plugged our new and improved website, check it out, pipebombradio.net. All of our social media is on there. And while you're at it, subscribe to us on iTunes. We are there. Contrary to what many people don't realize, our shows have always been on iTunes. So if you didn't know that we were, now you know.
Well,
anyways.
There's also, and not only on iTunes, I actually had a conversation, and it's actually, and I know I said this in the past, but actually still recently, last week, I believe, R2D2 actually came on Pipebomb Radio last week and took over Nate's phone system. And if you don't believe me, you can check it out. I mean, the footage is covered, and I'm sure Nate, checked that out once he first heard exactly what happened. But R2D2 said some kind words of Pipebomb Radio, and, why wouldn't he? He's a nice guy, or girl, or whatever he is. But, it's just, people like that. Everybody's everybody's listening to Pipebomb Radio, and watching it, maybe. It depends on your perspective on things.
And I want to wish Austin the best of luck, as he obviously has started his journey with DDP Yoga. It's not your mama's yoga.
It is your mama's yoga. And it's intensity and everything. It's low impact and high cardio, I guess. It's a really nice thing to do, and I've been wanting to do it for a long while. I know Felix has had a touch in doing it as well, and I'm looking forward to the future of DDP Yoga.
And Nate, what do you have to plug, sir? You have anything coming up? Any shows you got to plug, or what are you going to be doing? Are you going to be getting DDP Yoga too? What's up?
Actually, I've been interested in DDP Yoga for a while, so maybe I'll have to get it too, and then we can do it as a show.
There you go. Hey, have DDP on here with us.
Exactly. And then we'll lead up to that. We all get skinny.
That's
first.
Yeah, well I'm
always swimming. Including me.
If you want to hear more of me, everybody out there in Pipebomb Radio land, you can check out The Kings of Sport. It's a podcast I do every week with Marcus Vanderberg from Yahoo Sports. Check us out. This week we talked about the NFL and college football and a bunch of crazy stuff. You can get that on iTunes, on Stitcher, Facebook.com/The Kings of Sport, and follow us on Twitter at KOS_POD Cospod on Twitter.
All right. And with that, we will call it a night, guys. Tune in next Tuesday night as Legends Month continues. For now, this is Felix, Austin, and Nate signing off for Pipebomb Radio, and I will close as always. Unless you guys have another way that you guys want to close, I'll throw in my 2 cents. Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. Austin?
I don't know. You put me on the spot now. You should have told me something beforehand. I would have had a really creative response. But,
all right. How about you, Nate?
Phenomenal night, maybe. How about that?
That'll work. Hey.
All right.
Simple and clean.
Yeah, there you go. How about you, Nate?
I'll just say, for anybody else, this would just be a radio show, but for us, it's a pipe bomb.
I remember that. Good night, everybody. Good night, guys.
All right.